Hi, I'm Saketh, and welcome to the SWE at UCI channel.
Hi, I'm Liz, and since it's March and college decisions are starting to come out, we thought we would do a sWeTalk podcast episode discussing how to pick a college that's the right fit for you and also how to navigate the stressful time with all these decisions coming out. So I think first we'll just talk about our personal experiences and how we picked UCI.
Yeah, so in my case, of the schools that I got into, um, I felt that like culturally, s- school culture wise, UCI was just the best fit with what with just me, and I think that's school culture was really important for me.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think for me, I mean, as acceptances and rejections and wait lists were coming in, I slowly just started knocking things off, and then eventually I got down to the last two, and then I couldn't afford my first choice, so then I ended up at UCI, which actually worked out very well. I'm very glad I'm at UCI. But yeah, so I think now we'll just talk about like general tips. It is kind of hard finding that right fit for you, especially now in a pandemic and you can't visit. But I definitely think virtual tours are a great way to see campus. I think UVisit is a really good virtual tour website.
hmm And something that I um, I think is a good idea to like, even though you can't go onto campus, you can still talk to some of the students on campus or that go to that school through LinkedIn or something, and just ask them about the school culture. And I feel like that's a pretty good way to get a good feeling on the about the school.
And you can even find people in your major and ask them what that specific experience is like at that school. Yeah, for sure. I think also like also keeping in mind the like sort of conditions you were accepted in with, like are you undeclared engineering? Are you did you get into school but you didn't get into engineering at all, so you're undeclared? Because it is I think important to keep in mind like okay, it might be harder to get engineering classes if I go to a school that I was undeclared at versus a school that I got in for, whatever engineering or CS major I wanted.
hmm and I think a good way to figure out how like the experience of going from undeclared to the major that you want, is a good tool for that is actually Reddit, um, or or any like other social media sites where you can find other people who have gone through the same experience.
For sure. And then also keeping in mind like what clubs do they have? Like are you looking for any specific clubs, location, what's the surrounding area like, financial aid, of course, that's a big one. Any projects or research specialties that the school specializes in or is known for is a good one. Ooh, if you get in with honors or not. Um, that can be an interesting factor. Like, because I think at some schools, maybe because sometimes with honors you have to take certain classes, and then at the end of the day, having to take all these classes that you wouldn't normally have to take, outweighs the perks that you get. And sometimes it's the other way around. So you do need to do your research and keep that in mind also that, okay, if you really like the perks of the honors program, then maybe, that school is higher up on your list.
Yeah, and also the it's a good idea to keep in mind that like, whether or not it's a quarter system or a semester system and what you're used to already. If and also like what you think, and keep in mind that if you are used to a semester system, that doesn't mean that a quarter system will be terrible. It could be that the faster pace makes it easier for you to pay attention to your classes, and versus having to take more classes for a longer period of time with the
Mhm.
semester system.
For sure. I thought I would hate the quarter system, but I actually really, really like it. So sometimes it is the opposite of what you think. I think also like looking at if it's really important to you that you want some hands-on engineering courses or any specifically engineering courses rather than, your basic math and physics classes that you do have to take before getting into those engineering classes. If you want those engineering classes in your first year, then you can go to your school's website and then look at the 4-year plan, and look at what freshmen normally take and what they can take, with the specific rules. Um, yeah, and then also don't jump at the big name schools.
Yeah, just because the school is prestigious and has accepted you, that doesn't mean that it's the best choice for you. Um, it's ranking isn't everything for a school. It's not the and I know people who did end up going to schools that were based purely on their ranking, and but they didn't fit very well with the culture of that school, and they ended up regretting that.
Mhm, mhm. And then going back to location, I think also be interesting to look at what are the internship opportunities like, or the networking opportunities like. Like your, you know, opportunities might be very different living in the Bay Area versus
Living in um, like Waco, Texas.
right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and if a school has a connection or ties to a company that you're really interested in, for example, Microsoft works with University of Washington uh, quite a bit because of proximity, and also and that's great if you want to work at Microsoft or you want to build connections to people who work at Microsoft.
Mhm, for sure. Yeah, and it is a tough time, seeing also your peers going through this. And then I feel like there's a lot of comparing that, you can't help it. But oh man, like if I had done this or if I had taken this class, maybe I would have gotten in. Um, but I think there is some randomness or level of unexpectedness coming within those admission offices. There's some people that won't get into their safety school, but then they'll get into a target school or a reach school. So I think you never know. Don't count yourself out of the game. Um, so that's good to keep in mind.
Yeah, and it's also really important to know that even if you don't get into your dream school, like the the idea of a dream school puts too much value on the school itself. I think it's not about where you end up going to school. It's more about who you meet there and how you perform or what you make of your school experience, because that has a much bigger bearing on your career outlook and what you're going to do for the rest of your life than where the name of the school that you went to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, you'll be okay wherever you end up. There's gonna be clubs, there's gonna be awesome people at wherever you end up. So if it doesn't work out with whatever like school you had in mind, just know you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And that wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck with all those college decisions out there, and make sure to subscribe to stay tuned for our latest videos.